Aloha friends, this is Brendan, and this is a shift entry, a video log, a quest journal about my experience of meeting Amma on my birthday. So of course, I'm back from Toronto after a wonderful adventure, a full day of just being able to just hear the call of the universe and to go out there and to meet Amma, who is known as the quote-unquote hugging saint. She is a humanitarian, a spiritual leader who has been helping change the world in some very, very powerful ways for many, many years. Again, many of you would already be familiar with her. She is someone who, I'll just show you a picture because I'm not gonna edit this video in super crazy ways, but if I'll just show you that picture, you would just be like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I've seen that woman, you know, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create this video, I'm gonna just talk a little bit about who Amma is, the experience of going to meet her, my personal feelings about this, the fact that it was on my birthday, the synchronicities of it, the friends who I was able to connect with along the way, the gifts that I was able to receive, and also go over some of the notes that I took, because of course, going into this experience, again, being able to see her on my birthday, July 18th, this began literally the day before my birthday. And I was just sitting there working in the library, and I was just writing, and I was talking to my friend, and he's like, oh yeah, there's this event coming up, and I'm traveling from Montreal to Toronto to go meet Amma, and I'm taking a bus there with a bunch of people, and it's gonna be this super amazing thing. And I'm like, wait, what? Amma's in Toronto tomorrow? Wait, what? On the same day as my birthday? I'm like, yo, I don't have anything else super planned for that day other than just waking up and spending time during the misty sunrise. So I'm like, I can do this. Let me buy a ticket. Let me answer this call. I want to go there. I want to experience this. And I also want to be able to document and share it. Now, of course, flash forward a little bit. I did kind of have this vision of just kind of okay, I'm going to go to Toronto. I'm gonna film doing free hugs in the hallway. I'm gonna interview people. I'm gonna talk to people. I'm gonna make this big elaborate video. But afterwards, there was more information within the frequently asked questions about the experience of meeting Ammas. And one of the things that they were very, very strict on is the idea of no digital recording, no videography, no audio recording of any kind, specifically within the place that they have this huge ceremony and event, and when you meet Amma, and also even in the surrounding place, they're quite stern on that. So I'm like, okay, I can deal with that. I got a pen and a notepad. Let's do this old style. Let's document this first and foremost through my own heart. And in a way, I was actually grateful for that, because I'm like, okay, cool. Taking, I wasn't entirely sure of what to be able to expect. So just being able to focus on just being able to experience it first and foremost was great. And now I get to be able to share with you what that experience was through here. So I'm going to talk on camera for probably maybe, I don't know, another hour. No, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and just share with you a bit of this, with the intention of being able to document this experience. Yes, this experience did happen. So being able to archive this within the Paradigm Shift Central project as something that I can share with you, and something that we can take inspiration from together. Because again, meeting Amma is a very, very, very special thing. A lot of people, even people who are watching this, have met Amma, and they will tell you, they will be like, oh yeah, I met Amma, and it changed my life. And a big part of that is because she is someone who is so devoted, someone who has given so much of herself to her beliefs, to her vision, to what her heart calls her to. And again, Amma is from the Hindu faith, and if I'm not mistaken, that's my assumption. Yeah, everything was all Hindu related there. And what's very fascinating is that within the Hindu faith, I don't know the exact title, but she's basically recognized as being a living goddess. And they really play into that through this ceremony. So I'll take you through the experience of what happened. And again, it kind of concludes with me receiving this beautiful rose because of the fact that it was my birthday from Amma, as well as a couple other gifts that I'll tell you about as we go. So, again, I find out Amma is coming to Toronto. I'm like, I can do this. I'm buying a ticket. I'm doing this. I bought my ticket. Let's kick some butt. My day starts with the sunrise. It's my birthday. I film a video. You probably already saw that video. I go downtown. I have a meeting with a friend. I do some free hugs downtown. It's World Free Hug Day. Again, like that's the huge synchronicity of it. Like meeting Amma, the hugging saint, on World Free Hug Day. And then I bust down to Toronto. And then as I'm going down to Toronto, I'm going right down to the airport. And then I'm taking another bus to the hotel where they have it at. So they have it at this hotel. And there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people there. It's a free event, and they really make it accessible. And Amma has done many of these events, and Toronto is the last event, the last place on this tour that she does. And from my understanding, she actually comes to Toronto every time that she does this. So people have seen her in Toronto numerous times in the past, and there's this huge production team behind it. And I actually got to talk to one of the videographers there, which is interesting. I'll get to that in a minute. So going there, I'm in communication with my friend Oliver. Now, shout out to Oliver. He's a person who has been doing free hugs just for many years, and then eventually our paths cross. And again, like he was just like, oh man, like I would love for you to come meet Amma with me. This will be amazing. And like, that's my French accent, I know. anyways, on my way to Toronto, again, the way how it works is that for the people who are coming to meet her, there's this ceremony that they do first. And this is like, again, like a lot of like speaking about spiritual truth, Amma speaking, and then a person who's speaking in English interprets. She does speak English from my understanding, but she wasn't speaking in English during the event. So there was another man who was speaking, and there was like text on screen and stuff like that. So anyways, when you meet Amma, after the ceremony, there's this whole thing that she does, and that is referred to as the darshan. And the darshan is when she does the hugging. And so the hugging, she is literally like committing herself to hugging people for what will be hours, because there are so many people there, and they literally try to hug like as many people who want to experience this. And so they give out tokens to be able to say like you're like A1, and then it goes to like ZZ 99 or something like that. So there's like a lot of tokens that get handed out, more than probably like it probably goes to like triple digits, like ZZZ or something like that. And so he's like, okay, I'm gonna go there first. I'm gonna try and get a token for you. And I'm telling him like, okay, like I'm gonna have to leave Toronto like in order to be able to get a bus back. So I can't stay the entire night. He's gonna stay the entire night. So I go there, and on my way there, he's like, okay, like we got you a seat. Like I've got you like a seat, and like very much like the front row, and I got you a token, and you will be able to meet Amma before you leave, yes? And then like basically I arrived there, I get my token as well, because if you're a new person, they give you a token because they like a better token, because they want the people who've never met Amma, like first time, to be able to like meet her like earlier on. And so he gets a token, like my original token was like ZC. He gets a token that's I2. And then so he gives me his token, and that allows me to like make sure that I'm going to be able to see Amma, hopefully, before I have to go catch my last bus back to the bus station and to be able to get back home. And here I am now. And so I arrive there, and he does. And so he gets me this token. So the synchronicity is already unfolding. And I arrive in the hotel, and I tell him I'm arriving, and I'm walking through the hallway, and there's like people just kind of like lined up, and they're just like chilling out. And it doesn't take long until I run into him. And Oliver shows up, and he's wearing his leopard print onesie with his free hug shirt on. Actually, I'll show you. I'll show you the free hug shirt he gave me. So again, like shout out and thank you to Oliver. This is the free hug shirt. So you can see it says like free hugs in French, and then free hugs in English, and then on the back, it's got the different like the phrases in there, which are in French, but it says like harmony and peace and love. So thank you again. And that's the brigade. The Brigade of Love. I'll put a link for them in the comments below. And again, they're from Montreal, and there's like a whole bunch of them. And Oliver is one of the leading members within Paradigm Shift Central, so you'll be able to hear more about him. And we kind of approach this with the idea of like, he'll be documenting the experience from his perspective. And flash forward a little bit past the end of the story, he ended up staying the night, so like he was kind of like, he was still doing free hugs afterwards and everything like that, and I had to go on my way. So we arrived there, and again, at that point, I'm not focused on like going around and just doing free hugs and stuff like that. I'm focused on just kind of like doing protocol, getting my seat, walking through, experiencing just like the people there. Like there were so many people, like thousands of people, and that was part of the experience, was seeing like who these people were that were coming. And there's so many like really just like the beautiful energy, obviously, right? Like every single person there was someone who I could have like a shifty discussion with, someone who I could talk to about metaphysics and spirituality, and I could be like, oh yeah, you know, like I have a YouTube channel and I do free hugs and I talk about metaphysics and shifting consciousness, and I'm sure they would be like, oh, like that's really cool, you know, tell me more about that. But at that point, you know, I was just kind of like, okay, let's just kind of like walk through this, let's go into the space. And Oliver takes me to his seat, and it's about like six rows in from the front of the stage, and it's like right in the front of the stage. And so we get to like get ready to be able to meet Amma, and we still got like an hour until she comes on stage. And so Oliver introduces me to some of his friends who he came up with on the bus, and we're just chit-chatting, talking about the experience. And again, I'm just like kind of like sitting there, just like really allowing myself to get nice and present, just kind of closing my eyes, even just gently meditating a little bit. And then of course I also at that point, I'm just like, okay, like I want to, like I'm keeping in mind, I'm like, okay, let's see, like, can I film? How can I document this? And so of course I have my notepad, which ended up being my primary source of documentation. I'm actually going to read through you my experience on the notepad. And then also I walked around and I'm like, okay, let's ask people to find out what the protocol is on filming. At that point, I didn't know for sure whether or not filming was going to happen at all. Again, which it didn't. Just like one picture with Oliver later on in the day was the only thing that actually happened, but the rest was all documented here and on the paper. And basically, I ended up talking to one of the videographers who works with Amma, and it was just really interesting because like this guy has been doing videography work for like 16 years, living and traveling with Amma, and like, and he has a young boy, and his young boy has been like traveling with him, and just being in the presence of Amma in these ceremonies, I'm like, wow, that's such a powerful experience. And so I ended up giving him a button. I gave his son like one of the wolf buttons, and yeah, and I was just like asking him some clarification. He's like, yeah, basically it's like no filming, but that's okay. Like, it's, you know, just focus on experiencing this, especially since this is your first time. They had video screens, so we got to like watch some of the video documentaries on screen before the ceremony began, and these were videos that he worked on. And again, it shows Amma like in other parts of the world, doing the darshan, doing the hugs, talking about the humanitarian work, helping homeless people, helping raise money, helping women, helping children, helping people, all sorts of amazing things that she's been doing. The amount of money that she's raised, incredible stuff. So again, I really encourage you to just look up more about Amma and just be inspired by who she is and what she has done and what she represents within the culture and to people. And I told him, I'm like, okay, yeah, you know, like today's my birthday too, right? And he's like, oh, like you have to tell Amma. Make sure you tell Amma that it's your birthday. So I'm like, okay, like cool. This is gonna be fun. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. So anyways, I was able to connect with him on Instagram, which is really cool, you know, just kind of being in touch with him. I'll send him a DM and stuff, and just even let him know that I posted this and everything. And again, thank you to him as well, just for sharing some time with me and just talking a little bit. So again, that just gave me clarity. I'm like, okay, like no filming, no videography. And that's understandable. They want people to be present. They don't want people like going up and doing hugs and like trying to take pictures and stuff like that, which it was nice. It was nice not having that as a rule where it's like no videography, right? Everyone's very present. So flash forward a little bit, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, okay, let's just kind of like take this in. And going into the eventual free hugs, I know that I'm getting the briefing, I'm getting the protocol, and it's like, okay, when you go up there and meet her, if you have an item you want her to bless, you can get her to bless it. And if you want to give her something, you can give her something and gift her that as well. So my decision was to be able to get her to bless the Paradigm Shift sigil as one of these buttons So I got her to bless this, and I also gave her this, like a duplicate of this. This isn't the exact one. One is now like in her company or with her community, with her team. And also this ring, which is a very, very, very special ring that I've been wearing. And this ring is represents some very personal things to me, but it also represents my devotion to the heart of mankind. And so I got her to bless this. So again, like now that when I wear this, I think about this, and it has like the charged love and bonus point power, bonus point blessings of Amma. So now I got like, leveled up in that sense. And again, by getting her to bless this, the idea is that like through the portal, through the power of the symbol, the sigil, my intention was by her blessing this and giving her this, it was actually a way for her to be able to bless the entire paradigm shift community. So for you watching this video, like I went there with the intention of being able to redirect and send all of those good vibes to us as a team, as a community. So as a team, we have now received the blessings of Amma through the power of the sigil. So that's a very, very, very cool thing. So going into the experience of the ceremony before the actual hugs, and I'm just going to talk for, we'll see, like maybe 15 minutes. I don't want to overdo this. So going into the experience and being able to be in the presence of what Amma had to share and everything like that. Again, Amma's teachings, very much about unconditional love, a lot about just being able to it's about being able to help people step into their self-realization, self-actualization as spiritual beings, as extensions of source consciousness, and just encouraging people to help make a difference in the world, giving some more insight about karma and everything like that. So I wrote some notes here, and I'm just going to kind of like read some of the notes that I wrote here, as I just don't mind me as I just sniff this rose every now and then. And I'll explain why, even just smelling it is an interesting thing. So here's some of the things that I wrote. Now, honestly, I don't even remember everything I wrote. So meeting Amma, I wrote, one person as a beacon of inspiration and hope, opening the heart chakra, blessing all. So again, that, just think about that. The idea of for us as a story, for people to literally travel to meet her, and for this to be a very big thing, because this may be the only time they meet Amma. And again, to understand that in many ways, Amma, this was a powerful idea, is Amma in many ways is the closest physical embodiment people will be able to experience to meeting a god. Think about that. That's crazy, right? So again, that's just this person who's just kind of been serving as this very powerful bridge between source consciousness and mainstream culture, the everyday material world and the higher spiritual values and ideas. And again, that's what we talk about within Paradigm Shift Central. It's how can we do that? How can we be bridges within our everyday life? I don't know if you can hear the crows. The crows are chasing. I think they're chasing a hawk out there. So, anyways, so I'm gonna. Okay, so the ceremony begins. Amma walks in, and they're blessing with flowers. She's taking flowers, and she's kind of just throwing them like this, and she's wearing a white gown, and also, or actually, I don't know if. Okay, was she blessing with flowers, or I guess other people were making a flower path? It was both. And then they also had a shell horn, so a conch horn. And so there's a guy, and he's moo, moo, and that's the first thing you hear. And then Amma kind of comes in, and then you have this feeling, and you hear people, and I think there was music playing at the time, and you can hear people, and they're not standing up. People aren't standing up, but we're all just sitting there. And the friend of Oliver who was next to me, it was so visceral for him, and then he starts to cry, literally just from the presence of seeing Amma walking in, and he starts to cry. And that was cool, just to be able to be in the presence of, again, he wasn't the only one. There's a lot of people just having a visceral emotional reaction to this. And then Amma comes down, and she sits in the middle, and she kind of begins the ceremony, and there's 3 bowls, and then there's a candle in each bowl, and she kind of lights them, and then there's kind of a smoke that comes up, and she's in this kind of they had this stage set up where these white golden curtains around kind of this little gazebo. It's not a gazebo, but a little tent, and she's sitting in front of it. And so I actually drew a picture. So this is This is my picture. That's Amma basically sitting there, and those are like the three little like candle bowl things. And yeah, and then she's got like some like radiant light shining off her. I drew another picture too later on. I was like can't take pictures, but I can draw pictures. So and then she has yeah, and she's got like her bindi, like her third eye marking on her, and part of what I was doing was also being able to like practice eye gazing on her. I had a clear line of sight, so I was really fortunate. Like I didn't have someone's head in front of me. I had a clear line of sight of her. So what I was doing, I was like meditating, and I was basically like kind of like looking at her like in her eyes to the best of my ability, and then I would soften my gaze, and then I would eye gaze on her, and then I would focus on kind of like seeing her aura, like seeing her etheric energy, and then just kind of like feeling like the shift in that reality where I was kind of like focusing on her, seeing the rest of the reality kind of dissolve, and then like really just being in the presence of that space and just kind of like seeing that like soul within her. So that was kind of cool that I was able to kind of like hold space for doing that. So and then from there, so that was like my third eye meditation I wrote. And then from there, there's the instructions for the water blessings. And at this point, like Amma hasn't even spoken. She's just kind of been there, and there's like music playing, and it's just kind of like welcoming her on stage. And then so one of the things that they gave us at that point was this is water that is like blessed by Amma, is blessed like with her sacred energy, with her essence. And so this water was something that they like gave to everyone. They kind of like passed it down the rows. You put a lid on it, and they keep it with you, and they tell you like you can take this and you can drink it if you want. You can like dilute it in more water and kind of like continue to like spread it out to bless even more. So I haven't fully decided what I'll do with this. Like honestly, I'll drink some right now. I'll just take a sip of it. I already took like a sip before. So again, so like this water, like again, like water has energy. So what happens when we like have the water that is like blessed by someone of like spiritual virtues, with spiritual virtues? So I'll just like take a moment here and just like, this is like very sacred. So allow me to just kind of like sip this on screen. And again, as I do this for all of us. So. Tastes good. So again, I have this. I haven't fully decided what I'm going to do with it, but I have it. This is not the only sacred water. I've actually been building a collection. I actually have sacred water from like blessed by like the Buddha, which is like a whole nother story, which I'll have to post up again about eventually as well. That was like from years ago, which I still have. So I'm now building my collection of sacred water, right? Someone send me some water blessed by the Dalai Lama next, and then I'll start, you know, that will be like the next step of the collection. I don't know. So anyways, here are some phrases that I wrote down. So again, Amma began talking. She would talk for like a few minutes, but she would talk, again, as far as I understood, it was either in Hindi or like Sanskrit. Can you talk in Sanskrit? But then the person next to her, he would talk. It was a male, and he would talk and basically just kind of like say what she said, but in English. And it was already like kind of like scripted. They had like, he was like reading this, and they had like dialogue on screen of what was being read. And it was like in like multiple languages on the screen so people could read it. Obviously there were people there of different dialects, and again, and so the room was huge. Like this room was like a conference room, and so again, I was at the front, but like the rows went way back, like way back to the point where people would not even be able to see, but would still be in the presence. And then they had like the screens where they had their own camera guys filming her, so they had screens up at the front where you could like see her on the screens as well. So here's some phrases that I wrote based on the experience. And again, I'm just going to kind of go through this pretty quick because I got some things I got to do in the next couple moments, but I'll wrap up this video as best as I can. I wrote, pure love, embody of supreme consciousness. Life is like a dramatic performance. Actions arise from oh yeah, see, some of these are like half sentences because I was like writing stuff, and then the next thing would come that I would write another thing. Yeah, life is like a dramatic performance. Actions arise, and then I discernment of God, to live with the discernment God has given us. So the idea that life is a dramatic performance is this idea that like the important thing that they were talking about here, like I'll try and reiterate some of the lessons. They're saying life is like a dramatic performance. And so what this means is that like there are going to be times where sometimes we might like mess up our lines live on stage, and there will be mistakes that we make, but we have to do our best to kind of like keep moving forward and to learn from those, but to move forward with the best intention in our actions. And this is where it kind of gets into the karmic thing. It's like we as humans, we will make mistakes. We are not perfect, but we do our best to be able to like show up using the discernment that God has given us to be able to act in the best manner accordingly. Ripples create waves. That's basically kind of like what they were saying. Of course, I use that phrase a lot. And then it says like, do not regret the paths of life. It's either parts of life, paths of life. I'm just going to keep going through this. We are praised, we rise. Learn how to take criticism. Ego gets pricked. So this was another important talk within the lesson. It was talking about being able to see criticism as like something that actually builds us into being stronger. So when we receive criticism, are we going to be like, ow, oh no, like that hurt and stuff like that, and I hate that person, how could they? Or can we be like, sweet, awesome feedback, let me listen to that, let me like receive it. Maybe my ego will be pricked a bit, but can I still receive it in a way that's going to actually help me refine myself, actually help me step into my best self possible? So one must be willing to change. I am becoming better than what I am now. So like that is, again, kind of like the teachings they were talking about, is constantly growing, constantly self-actualization, becoming better each and every single day by being open to being able to learn from the lessons of the universe, not holding on to the past, but really being able to move forward. And again, kind of like reaping karma through good deeds. Again, it was kind of like talking about karma as an act that would kind of like accumulate within a bank. So like as you do these good deeds, like your bank kind of builds up, and then those karma kind of like bleeds into your life. But if you don't do good deeds, then that bank account is kind of like empty, and then you're like don't have that ability to kind of like receive those additional like rewards that you would get from these good deeds. But being able to do good deeds in like a genuine place. Don't just be like a karma, just karma farmer or something like that. That's another topic for another discussion. We become slaves to others' opinions. This is one of the things that they talked about. Love is unconditional. Use criticism as steps to success. We are independent and strong lions. That was a very important thing. It's kind of like reminding us, teaching us how to step into our power. It's like really acknowledging that. It's that like, we have to be this. We have to be like these like strong lions. Those of us who can kind of like step on our own accord, walk our own path, take criticism where it may come, but rise and know that we are like divine consciousness, know that we are like sovereign beings, know that we are extensions of like higher consciousness. We are these divine lions. Very powerful idea. Dive into the depths of talent. So again, kind of really reflecting on being able to like strengthen our gifts, articulate our art, work on our best parts of ourselves each and every day, and just continually invest in growing who we become. So again, this is basically just like saying like, these are quick reminders to help you like become the best version of yourself you can be, to become like the strongest version of yourself you can be. So again, I'm going to keep talking through this. Got a few more, there's quite a few pages here of notes, so whether I go through all of it or not, I don't think so. And then I'll talk about the experience of actually like hugging her in the next moment. Yeah, there's quite a few notes here, so I don't think I'll actually go through all of these, but I'll try and convert some of them within the written document of the actual experience. So actually, yeah, like I'm just going to read through this real quick, and then I want to get into talking because I have to end this video soon. Spirituality is awakening to our true self. Youth and beauty will fail. That was an interesting thing they talked about. The idea of being able to like, don't just like things because they're beautiful, because beauty will fall, beauty will fail. Can you love things for like the heart of what they are? You know, if you fall in love with someone and be like, oh, they're beautiful physically, but eventually that beauty will fade. Again, beauty can be very subjective. And can you love them for their soul? Can you love them for the beauty of their essence? we have to, and it talks about being like a captain of our own ship, navigating the storm. And it says we are always alone, but that's in an empowering way. The idea of being like we are always sovereign. We are always, when we're not depending on others, and we acknowledge that we are always alone, we have the ability to step into that power. Invisible divine energy controls all things. God's law, reap the fruits of our actions. So it's talking about the karmic law, the laws that are like beyond, just like any individual will. They are God's laws, karma being one of them. Do remedial actions. Again, do good actions. Helping people, kindness, acts of compassion, service. Knowledge without awareness. I'm not exactly sure what the context there from that was. Karma like credit, that's kind of what I was talking about. Death like a period at the end of a sentence. That's very interesting because again, it's like literally life is like this ongoing poetry, and then death is just like the period at the end of the sentence, they said, and then life continues. Types of karma, I wrote shift karma, not exactly sure what I meant there. Karma returning, let past fly by, grow old and grow up. Growing up is the path of immortality. So I was like literally talking about this, like again, like awakening into the immortality of the heart. Awareness in all worlds, in all words as well. That's actually what it says, awareness in all words. So be very powerful, be very aware of the power of our words. And when you are in this place of self-sovereignty and self-actualization, you will pay attention to every single word you say. Because again, it kind of says that like, it's very easy where one thing that you could say could hurt a relationship, could change the way someone sees you. You could say something very hurtful for someone in one sentence, and it could drastically change the relationship there. So pay utmost attention to every single word that we say. One match can burn a forest. It's kind of what it's talking about. So again, like one deed that may be like out of, just like hate or anger can burn the relationship, an entire forest. So again, be very, very mindful of what action you are bringing into your reality. So again, just incredible self-awareness. The goal of life, self-realization. Mental health is when we can still our own mind. Butterflies exist only for a few days. So again, it was talking about the beauty of everyday things. So again, that's a very powerful thing. It's like we forget that. It's like, oh yeah, butterflies only exist for a couple days. So when we see them, that's like a transient thing. That's a fleeting moment. Think about that next time you see a butterfly, how blessed that is to be able to see it, because that butterfly like won't exist. Another one will come along, but that one will only exist momentarily. So again, like seeing appreciating the transient aspect of life. Bless our minds with humility. Transition to heaven. Born in love, live in love, die in love. That's a very powerful statement. Love is the closest feeling to our true self. So again, that is why we like gravitate towards love. That is why like free hugs are so powerful. Love is the closest feeling to our true self. Very, very cool. Just let you sit with that. The feeling of God's grace. Okay, and then from there we started doing the meditation. So that's what happened next. So that was kind of like the main teachings. So again, I gotta wrap this up soon. We did these group meditations, and then we did 3 ohms. So I think we were standing at that point. I think we were still sitting. Those ohms were powerful. So it was like, whoa. And again, like there's a room of like thousands of people doing it. That may be the only time that I'll be in a room with like that many people doing it. So that was super crazy. And again, this is like all on my birthday, right? So I'm just like, oh man, super present, super grateful to receive all this gift. And then, yeah. And so then after that, I don't know what I wrote there. I just wrote Divine Mother, but I'm not exactly sure what the context of. Help others selflessly. Positive vibration carries with us. Okay, so they're back into the speakings here. May all beings in the world be happy. Chant. Okay, and this is when they were doing the chant. So that was actually like part of the translation. So they were like chanting. Oh yeah, like that part was crazy. They were just like chanting this one part, and there was like, it sounded like it was repeating, but it was like praising kind of like the mother goddess, like the divine mother goddess, and it was like oh God, I could like I didn't like I wasn't able to write it down. It was going so fast, but it was like the one who is beyond words, the one who holds love in her heart, the one who erases all fear, the one who like clears all doubt, the one who reminds us of our true self, the one who shows the way, the one who like alleviates all suffering, the one who inspires all hearts. And it was just like it was like that. It was just like boom, 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 and it like this was like listing off all the things that the Divine Mother kind of does when we like connect with her and everything like that. And just yeah, it was like the guru type thing, identifying with that. Super, super powerful. Like that was like, and it was like fast. It was like boom, boom, boom. So it was just like on screen. So it wasn't really something I could write down, but I remember that. And again, like honestly, all of this experience, like going through it, it was very dreamlike. Like that was the thing. Like after I wrote all this down and stuff, I was talking to Oliver and I'm like, do you remember like what just happened? And he was like, no, it's just like, it just feels like a dream. It just happened. And again, my French accent, I gotta work on that, right? Anyways, but I'm glad I wrote this down, because honestly, if I didn't write this down, there would be parts of it where I was like so present, but like it was like so transient, and the whole experience was very dreamlike. So again, this is like dream notes. Help others selflessly. Positive vibration carries with us. May all beings in all worlds be happy. That's interesting. All worlds be happy. Chant with Amma. And then this is like one of the chants, Luka samasta sukion havaranta. And that was like, that's, I mean, again, that's what I wrote. That was like on screen. You can see it there. I didn't pronounce it properly, but that was like a chant that they were like repeating over and over again. And then we started doing this meditation where we were imagining white flowers coming down onto the earth. And so we were meditating there. I think we were standing up at that point, and we were just like, and it was very powerful. Like visualize like with these little white flowers falling onto the earth, falling into the rivers, landing in different places, blessing things. Super, super powerful. You are the form of the self. I bow before you. This was like, that was like one of the things that it said on screen. Durga, I think Durga is like the phrase, I think that relates to Amma, Durga. I think Durga is kind of like the phrase for like the embodied divine goddess, and part of like what Amma represented as like a physical form. Victory of the supreme guru. The complete this is something that was on screen. The complete manifestation of truth existence, knowledge and bliss embodied. Prostration of the immortal self. So this was like translated from like part of this is one of the songs they were doing. So at this point they were starting to do the songs. The wife of Siva, Siva, and the bestower of fearlessness. So this was within the song. So at this point, Amma had walked off stage, or she had walked behind the stage. There was like a curtain, and then she was transforming. Oliver was explaining this to me. Like she was like transforming into like her like goddess form, and then she like came out, and then this is when the free hugs started to begin to happen. And so you're sitting there, and she had this like green robe on and like this headpiece on, and I drew a little picture. So this is Amma like sitting in her little chair, and she had like a little umbrella over top of her, and she had this like green robe with this red necklace of flowers, and she had like this little headpiece on, and this is a little picture of her face. So you can see there, so like straight up, that's what she looked like. So she like looked like one of like the gods embodied. So she didn't have that headpiece thing wasn't on before. So she put that on. So it was like very much like she was like in physical form of like the god mode. And when there was actually a point where she was like changing, and it kind of like opens the curtains and you like see her transforming. It was like very, very sacred and stuff like that. And then they close it again, and then they open it later and stuff. So again, from here, I said hugging embrace, acknowledged something, deities maybe, giver of outer and inner control. Oh, okay, that was like what was written on screen. Make a firm decision. Whatever happens, happens. I will be happy. I will be strong. God is with me. Again, this was like from like the lyrics that were on screen during the songs they were singing. That's a cool thing though. Like make a firm decision. Oh, that was a quote from Amma. Actually, that's a quote from Amma. It says, "Make a firm decision. Whatever happens, I will be happy. I will be strong. God is with me." So that was like a powerful quote from Amma. Okay, so at that point, I was like walking around, and I was getting ready to go get ready for my free hugs. my free hugs, my hug from Amma. And so again, like people were already starting to get hugs from Amma, and it happens fast. Like this is the thing, like it happens fast in the experience. Like you walk up on stage and literally it's like 10-15 seconds with each person. She's sitting in the chair, the people kneel in front of her, they kind of lean themselves into her, she like hugs them, she'll say something to them in her ear, and then they kind of like get up and and she'll give them something, and then they kind of like walk them off stage, and then that's kind of it. And then you're just like, oh my goodness. But like people are like crying from the experience. Again, it's like being able to like touch a god or just kind of like be in the presence of that. Super, super powerful. And when I was walking around and stuff like that, this is just something I wrote. I wrote compliments on necklace. There was like a person that just like complimented my necklace. They were just like, oh my god, that's so cool and stuff like that. And so that was kind of fun. And then so another thing that you can do is you can also ask for a mantra. And a mantra, that's a process that would have taken like a little bit longer, so I didn't have time to do that. But there is the option where people go there and they can receive a mantra blessing. And this is like something that they would be able to take with them and repeat. And it's in like Sanskrit, and so you like repeat that. So I didn't get that because I had to go catch my bus. So I wrote, be a journalist, document, be different. I think this is just like, that's my that's my notes from when I saw, that's like from another thing. So, yeah, that's like my notes from another day. So anyways, that was the end of my notes that I wrote. So at that point, I was like getting in line and I was getting ready to go up and see Amma. So I'm just going to explain this part and then I'm going to wrap up this video because I got to do something else in a second. So, I was waiting there, and so again, like the moment comes where I'm like talking to them, I'm like, okay, like this is what I got for her to bless. So I hold this in my hand with the paradigm shift sigil, and I hold this, and right before me, as I'm sitting there and I'm about to be the next person in line to go see Amma, there was like a family, and they had twins, they had kids. There was actually two families. One had like one baby, and then one had like twins. And so the people right in front of me were actually like, she was like holding twins, and she was like whoa, like blessing the twins. So that was like super powerful, just to see like people bringing their children to be able to be like hugged and blessed by Amma. Like super, super powerful, right? And so again, so at that point, I am in front of Amma, and basically the person says like, okay, you're gonna kneel down in front of her, and you're gonna put your hands on the side and lean in, and she'll hug you. And honestly, this part was like really crazy because like it happened so fast. Like seriously, it happened so fast, and I was present, but I wasn't like fully able to be like, What actually happened is I kind of like lean in, and kind of like someone like puts my hand on my back, so I'm kind of like put into this position, and then I'm trying to communicate. I'm like, Amma, it's my birthday, and I'm trying to like say it loudly, and then she kind of like hugs me and she embraces me, and in my right ear she like says something into my ear, not in English, and she says something into my ear like some sort of blessing, and then I kind of like lean back and I say it again. I'm like, Amma, it's my birthday, and then she like, and then from there I'm like, she gives me a rose and also an apple. She gives me an apple and a rose. Oh, and a Hershey kiss, which apparently she gives to everyone. And she like takes a Hershey kiss and she like puts it in your mouth, which is like crazy. So she like, so I'm like saying that, I'm like, hug, Amma, it's my birthday. Hug, Amma, it's my birthday. Here, have a rose, have an apple. Here, have a kiss. Pops it in my mouth, and I'm like, and I like stand up and I like turn around, and then I'm like off stage. I'm just like, what the, like, what just happened? Like, what was that? And so it was really like fast. Like, I don't know. I feel like I probably had like even like 20 seconds, 30 seconds maybe. But still, it was really powerful. And again, the fact that she gave me a full rose was super, super powerful, because again, she doesn't do that with everyone. She'll give people like gifts, like an apple. I'm gonna eat this apple, quite frankly. That's my plan. But the rose, I'm gonna preserve this. I'm gonna get it like worked into silicone, and I'm gonna preserve this. This is very special, because she will give like flower petals to people, but to get an entire rose from Amma, she'll kind of decide that. Again, just kind of like, she's like got like these gifts behind her. She's like, here, have this, have this, have this. But again, this is very special, and what I love about this is the fact that when I smell it, the fragrance of it, I kind of like acknowledge it as like a kind of, the memory of it brings me back to that place. So now every time when I smell a rose, I'll kind of be like reminded of my journey with Amma. And so it's like, so I'm kind of reminded of like the virtues that she represents, the devotion that she has, the shared vision between both of us and many of us, and you, and the connection to the community, and the experience of that day and the journey. So whether it be this rose or another rose or anything that reminds me of the beauty of life, I will be reminded of the gifts that Amma shared with me, and the gift that she shared with us. So I'm super blessed to be able to receive this very special rose, and this is such a beautiful rose. So I'll be sure to take care of it. And yeah, and just from there, I met up with Oliver again, and I was basically just like, dude, like, I gotta catch my bus. Like, I gotta catch my bus is leaving in 3 minutes. We took a picture together. I'll get the picture. I'll just like show it here again. I gotta finish this broadcast. And then from there it was like catching my bus, and then I was on my way, and yeah. So here's a picture of Oliver. So just so you can see there. So that was the only picture that I took. And so I gave Oliver some free hug signs, and I gave him some buttons, and I'm like, dude, like, you're doing this for both of us. Go do some free hugs, connect with people here. Like, he got his hug with Amma, but he was there till like the entire evening, through the morning. That's how long they went. And I haven't even gotten the full report yet from him. So I'm looking forward to being able to hear about the rest of the experience from him. And I'm sure he got to talk to people and connect with people. Again, literally, like, I was just like there, got to experience the ceremony, got to hug Amma, got to meet Oliver, got to hug Oliver, give him some signs, take a picture, catch the bus, and I was on my way. And back home that night, and here I am back home, and it was like, whoa. And again, it's just like, that happened. Like, whoa, that was crazy. So that was my experience of meeting Amma. And I'm super blessed that I got to experience it on my birthday. Being my birthday was like the reason why she gave me the rose and the apple. So I'm grateful to be able to share this with you. Again, I feel like my heart has opened even more. Being able to be in the presence of that teaching, being able to see the impact that it has, the meaning that it meant to other people, the way it brings people together, the importance of compassion, the reminder of self-actualization, the power of love, the power of divinity, and just connecting and bringing it forth in our everyday life. And yeah, I'm sure there are going to be more things that are just going to kind of like unfold through my experience. So there we go. I'm going to wrap up this video, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you allowing me to share this documentation of my experience of meeting Amma, and just being able to tell you about it. By me telling you about it, I hope it kind of like brings you through the experience of it. If you have a chance to see Amma in the future, highly encourage you to do so. And again, just continue to embody these teachings by going out there, being mindful with our actions, sharing the love, building the karma, and being able to receive the blessings of the universe, embodying the divinity within yourself, helping others see it within themselves, continuing to walk this path of self-actualization and deep devotion and deep compassion. So thank you for being a part of this story, for receiving the blessings. Again, you receive the blessings. Like, when I went up there and she hugged me, like, I was hugging her on behalf of all of us. Like, that was another thing that was in my mind. And also, like, the fact that, like, I'm like, okay, she's blessing me, and she's blessing anything I'm wearing. And so, like, I also had, like, this special wolf pendant and my Moldavite necklace, which, again, is very special to me. So those got blessed and stuff, too. I just forgot to add that part into the story. And again, yeah, and I went there, and I'm like, by hugging her, I'm hugging her on behalf of all of us. So in some way, like, we all got to hug Amma. And I'm grateful to have been an ambassador for that. So thank you so much for watching this video. It has been an honor to be able to share with you. And yeah, please feel free to share this with your friends. Comment below if you have met Amma. I would love to hear your experience of it. And as always, thank you so much. Check out more at ParadigmShiftCentral.com. Of course, you can support on Patreon. Links are down below. As always, go out there, keep it shifty, and I will see you in the future. Many blessings and much love. Thanks again.